Okay, so today I'm going to be kind of giving my input on how I think about making decisions and why I stopped outsourcing them. So let us discuss. What do I mean by outsourcing decisions? Uh, you may have heard about outsourcing a lot of your work, but a lot of our decisions that we take in real life, I feel like are outsourced. How? Okay, so think about some important decision which you took in your life, which college, exam, phone, so many things, right? What do you do before taking this decision? The first thing which I do, what I used to do, is I go on YouTube and or I just ask ChatGPT or I ask Google. I read reviews about it. I see how others who are in my same situation are dealing with my situation. This is good, but I do not think that you should be taking their decision as it is. Why? Why shouldn't you take uh, others' decision? They probably would have thought about it as well, and you're facing this same issue. So the solution to yours is probably the same issue as well, right? Okay, so why that doesn't always work, right? So when someone gives you an advice, right? When someone gives you an advice, for example, like an example I've taken here, let us say I want to do a startup, right? Uh, and I ask one of my senior who is working at some sort of a big tech company or maybe any job, whether I should do a startup. Okay, uh, their output is not usually what you should follow blindly because let us say there are let us say there are two people, A and B. Okay, I'm B and the other person is A. Now I'm asking them if I should start a startup, right? A has a lot of responsibilities, right? Let us say that they do not come from middle class or above middle class. They come from a lower middle class and they have a lot of responsibility. They have a sister to take care of, they have a brother to take care of, they have parents to take care of, they have bills to pay, right? Hundreds of responsibilities, right? Now let us assume this me as B, right? My life doesn't change much if I do a 5 LPA or a 10 LPA job, right? I do not have a lot of obligation. I do not have anybody to take care of. I can take my time. Basically, I can afford to test things out, right? So let us now take these two people. And now B asks A whether B should do a startup. Okay. A, of course, is going to say no. Why? Because if A does a startup, one thing is startups are incredibly random. I wouldn't say random, incredibly different and time taking. They are not the most stable things. They involve a lot of time, execution effort, and a lot of luck as well to some point. Uh, so if A does a startup and he fails, right, who's going to pay the bills, right? So for A, taking this startup is a bad idea. Even though the startup itself is good, even though he can execute it, right? For A, it is a bad idea. But for B, it is completely different. Now B takes advice from A, and now suddenly B decides not to do the startup. B decides to take a 6 LPA job or a 7 LPA job or a 10 LPA job, right? So basically, advice is a compressed equation, right? Advice is a combination of all the factors and all your experiences, all your capabilities, what you can do, what you cannot do, what you have tested, right? So A currently has X variables, and when B decides to take advice from A, even though B doesn't have these X variables, B accepts these X variables. So you are taking on variables which does not belong to you. Okay. So when does that mean that you shouldn't take advice? No, you should definitely take advice. Instead of framing it as advice and following what they say, you should take input from everyone. You should take information from everyone. Why is this? Uh, why do I believe that this is a better approach? Okay, right. All right. So, how do you take decisions? Right. First one is you to get info. You get info on the matter, and you decide what you're supposed to do. How do you get info? One of the best ways to get info is by asking better questions, right? Instead of asking, what should you do, right? Try to gather data. Try to gather as much data as possible regarding that issue, right? Now, you should be very careful about who to ask, how to separate data, what data is relevant, what data matters, and what data doesn't as well. But that is a completely different game. And even if you're not that good at uh, selecting what data to take your decisions based on, it is still better than just following others' advice. Because especially if you are young, right? Especially if you're young and you're trying to take decisions on your own, you will fail a lot at the beginning. But your failure won't be that uh, effective, or it won't change your life that much, because the decisions you're taking are not life or death decisions, right? They're not very big decisions. Your decision may be, should I start a YouTube channel or not? Okay. Should I do drop shipping or not? Right. So this is not life or death. But if you start taking decisions once you're like let's say 25 or 30, now you have never taken a decision, right? You have never taken a decision and you're trying to take a decision on your own. And now, since you lack this experience and you're new to this entire game of taking decisions on your own, the chances of you failing are pretty high. And this time, these decisions matter. Why? Because the question can be, should I change a job? Okay. Should I leave my job? Right? Should I invest in X company? Right? Should I do Y thing? Should I take a loan for X amount? Should I move abroad? So all this are things which affect your life. So it is better to start young and take bad decisions than never start. There's no doubt about it. All right, let's go on to the new part. Okay, so now that you have collected information, right, you have taken advice from others and you have the information required. A lot of the times, what I used to do is I used to just, even now, when I say I used to, I am just stuck in the phase of collecting more and more and more information, right? I read blogs, I watch videos, right? I kind of analyze positions, different possibilities, and this just goes on forever. There is legitimately no end to this. If you just keep on, start getting information and start trying to analyze it, right? One thing which I have realized and which I think is that most of the decisions you take are incomplete. And that is normal. That should be considered normal. Why should that be considered normal? Uh, because if you're going to wait until you have 100% information, that will just delay everything. And especially in this era, especially the post AI world, everything depends on speed, right? Almost every startup which beat big tech is not because big tech couldn't do it. It's because of speed, right? So speed matters a lot. So instead of trying to eliminate uncertainty, you have to validate stuff faster, right? You have to validate stuff faster, and you must be okay with you. This is a completely different topic which I'm going to go now. One thing is, you guys should be okay with failure. You guys should be okay with being wrong. Our society has kind of come to the point where success and being right are the default, right? If you're wrong, that is seen as if it's not okay, right? They see wrong, being wrong as something not okay or not default or abnormal. But in reality, thousands and thousands of things fail every day, and there are very few things which work out. Any startup, any entrepreneur, anybody you can think of, they would have failed a lot before they finally ended up doing something. So you need to kind of develop this false tolerance. This is extremely important. I kind of got my tolerance by it was either competitive gaming or it was trading, chess, and basically the competitive space, because you get humbled very quickly in these spaces, right? Your normal board exams or your normal exams are a completely different game. So do not try to apply this knowledge there and be like it's okay for me to fail all my exams and sit around. It's not like that, because that is completely a different system. That's not even made for this era, I believe. So don't use my approach there. Uh, all right. So now you got incomplete information. Okay. Now what? How do you take this information and take rational decisions? Right. I feel like when you think about some of the most top people in the world, right, in any field, okay, Elon Musk, right, so many people, right, anybody you can think of, companies, JP Morgan, quant firms, YouTubers, Mr. Beast. If you take all these people, they experiment very quickly and they can afford to experiment very quickly as well. Maybe we cannot afford as much as they do, but they experiment extremely quickly. They do not stick on to others' opinions. Uh, their flow is basically information, validation, experiment, feedback, and the loop continues, right? So instead of wasting 2 or 3 months, whether you should start a business, whether you should make an app, or let us say whether you should start a YouTube channel, whether you should commit to some examination, right? Experiment quickly, validate quickly, and move quickly. Okay. A better approach would be to kind of take the bigger picture, the bigger set of what you would do if you did commit fully to that decision, right? Now take a subset of it and try doing that. And based on that results, you can kind of conclude it may not always be right or always be wrong, but it definitely gives you a better understanding on how things work. Okay, so now let us talk about intuition, right? Once you keep doing this, once you keep experimenting, taking decisions, failing, feedback loop, and everything, you kind of develop a taste. And in this post AI world, taste is extremely important, right? A lot of code can run and a lot of code doesn't run. AI can generate a lot of code, but what code is right? What code is optimal? When you have a database with a million lines of code, it is extremely difficult for an AI to decide. And this is something which AI has still not replaced, right? Having unique taste. There's a reason why UI UX designers exist still today, right? A lot of people said, once Lovable was out and once a lot of these tools, AI tools were out, that designing is just done. But designing just became way more important now, more than before, definitely more than before, because of taste, because every AI website just looks the same. Every AI marketing just looks the same. So what started winning is taste. And another name for taste is intuition. Okay. So you kind of start building your intuition, right? People a lot of times say that, I just had a feeling, or I just felt it, right? I I kind of observed this when I was playing chess competitively. Uh, like a lot of the times, people who are higher elo than me would just see positions I couldn't see. Right? It's not like they sat down and calculated all 3,000, 5,000 probabilities. It's just that they had better taste. They had been in similar situations, and their pattern recognition was really better. And moving forward in this post AI world, this taste is going to matter a lot in almost everything, in management, in marketing, in code, optimization, almost everything. Taste is going to matter. And once you start doing this for long enough, you're going to start developing a taste. Okay, so uh, why should you build a taste? Why shouldn't you just copy someone else's taste? Why can't, let's say I'm designing a website. Why shouldn't I just go to Apple's website and just copy their entire uh, taste and design, right? The thing is, when a company does something, it is completely designed for their variables, right? And when a person gives out some advice, for example, I'm giving out some advice. I'm not really giving out advice. I'm just talking about what I think and what I feel, because I just want to get to know, like, kind of like a feedback, so that I can become better as well. Right? Okay, let's not get distracted. Right? Copying rarely works, right? Uh, Even when you are doing a startup or something, you would have seen hundreds of podcasts, each one saying completely different thing, right? One person says, waking up morning will just change your life. One person says, just stay awake till 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and do something. One person says sleep for 8 hours, 9 hours. Somebody says I only sleep for 2 hours and 3 hours, and you need that kind of sacrifice to achieve something, right? But again, whatever these people are telling you, it is heavily biased, and this is called as survivalship bias. Okay, people who win, people who live, right? They write the story, and the entire narrative becomes biased towards them. So, uh, thousands of people who fail with the same strategy, they're not heard of, and suddenly this one individual just becomes extremely famous. This is what happens with DSA, right? A lot of people just think DSA is just everything, because in big tech, yes, DSA is extremely important. So people follow these people who have cracked big tech interviews, and they listen to them, and they just heavily prioritize DSA, and they're like, okay, then I should just do DSA. But when you go to an actual interview, they ask a lot of CS fundamentals, a lot of basic stuff. Yes, DSA is a part of it, but CS, basic fundamentals, system design, AWS, all this matter a lot as well, right? We oversee all of this. Why? Because of survivorship bias. Okay. So let us go to the next topic. Right. So basically, we must start taking actions, and we must start taking actions fast. And the actions must be relevant. This is going to happen with time. And I would recommend that you document all your experimentations, so that in future, if you are experimenting something else, even though X has no relation to Y, your approach will be way better. You can always refer X if you are stuck in something similar. Right? It doesn't have to be a detailed document, but there should be some kind of a documentation. Maybe so basically, what I do is I have a Discord private server. I'm alone there. So whatever experimentation I do, whether it is trading, gaming, YouTube, scripts, EAs, so I just create a new channel, and I just dump all my resources, my results, everything there, right? So that if I want to ever look back at it, I can just go there. And when you experiment a lot of things, when you try out a lot of things, your list just increases extremely quickly, and you don't remember everything which you have done like a year ago. So this helps a lot. All right. Uh, the learning loop, basically what I said, you take info, right? You predict something. Based on that predictions, you experiment and you validate. Based on this experiment, you come up with new info and new predictions. We'll call that feedback. And you update your prediction based on the feedback. And later you again validate it. And this loop continues. Uh, you should be very careful about ego. If you are an individual who has a lot of ego, once you believe X, and even though you can clearly see that X is not right and Y is right, your ego just doesn't let you, right? You kind of go on this journey where you try and justify this X more and more and more instead of maybe giving Y an open thought. Okay, so you should be careful of that as well. Right, right. Now you have a decision. You know what to do. You know how to select information. Another thing which I have observed extremely high in these days is when a person takes a decision, they have duality. They have duality, right? Let us say there is a person X. He's working a job called as A, and he wants to do a startup called as Y. Now, X immediately starts taking binary decisions. Should I quit this job or should I do this startup? Right? This is a binary decision. You are just closing your options for no reason, even though you don't have to. Right? Instead of doing this, right? I understand the entire, I am him mindset that, I'll not lose. I am just locked in on this and I'll not lose. But it doesn't hurt to have options. And it is actually smarter, I would say, to have options, right? Don't go on a chain of having like 10 options and you end up doing nothing, right? Don't do that. But at least have some kind of an backup plan or an option, right? Now, X doesn't need to quit the job A, doesn't need to quit the job A to validate Y, right? He can do this and he can do this as well. He can do startup as well. First validate this, get customers, see its ROI, understand its unit economics. Because quite honestly, when you're doing a startup, you don't know much, right? Especially when you're starting out, you don't know how deep the game is, right? What your competitors are doing. And especially in this AI world, AI has just changed so many things. uh, Competition is extremely fast. Like, let us say you have a company established A and it is running really well. Meta can just decide to launch a feature and your company is just gone, right? So you should have optionality in this day and age. That is extremely important. Kind of uh, embed it into your decision taking systems. That optionality is extremely important as well, right? So now that you have a decision to take, you have the decision, you have to really realize that once you executed this decision, it is it will be hard to recover from it, right? When you try like one thing, it's fine, but when you try like 50 things and nothing worked, which is what has happened to me, it is very hard to recover from it. You start questioning your entire motives and your entire systems, right? So when you're taking a decision, I would argue that you should kind of have a recovery plan as well, but don't give a lot of effort into this. Maybe 5% or 10% should be given into backup and recovery. But you should definitely not uh, consider, you should not be like, I'm not even going to consider this, that I may fail, right? So this is entirely basically how I think I should be taking decisions. I know I'm not good or perfect at taking decisions, but this is what I'm trying to learn and implement so that I get better over time. uh that's it. I am happy, more than happy to listen to you guys feedback, and a lot of the things and a lot of the experimentation, validation. Even though I used to do it before I watched Varun, uh, I started doing it extremely well, like documentation wise, and how to select information and everything. After seeing him, this guy is he lives in Bangalore itself. He's an incredible entrepreneur. He has multiple companies. So if you want to learn more about stuff like this, systems, how to think, how to fix your career, what to bet on, what not to bet on, I would say this guy is incredible. You guys should go check this guy out. I mean, I'm not definitely not big enough to give this guy a shout out, but I'm just giving you guys resources and information that he's the person I learned from. So if you guys want to go more deep, you guys can go check him out. All right, thank you. I don't expect a lot of people to make it to the end of the video, but if you did, uh, just comment. I'll be surprised to see how many people are uh, reach at the end. So, okay, guys, see ya. Thank you.